So I received an email from my bank this morning. It was fairly sort of longish, but the summary of the email from the bank was basically a polite reminder that my bank account is a personal bank account and should not be used for business, which is interesting in itself. So they obviously have been looking at the types of transactions that have been going into my bank account. And I'm just wondering whether or not they've also been looking at the types of transactions that have been going out as well. But that to one side, so for them to think that or to know that I'm using my personal bank account for business, they also then must know that I'm self-employed. So here in the UK, the UK government say, and this is readily available on the UK government website, that being self-employed, you are not required to hold a separate business bank account for your business. If you're self-employed, you can use a personal business account, a personal bank account to run your business if you're self-employed. It's not required at all. So basically, I think what the banks are doing, or what my bank is doing in particular, is they've noticed that some of the transactions going out, they could be earning money from if I'd opened a business bank account. So I understand that. I mean, my personal bank account is free. I've never had to pay for fees, or I've never had to pay to cash checks or that kind of thing. And I certainly don't pay for using ATMs or anything. So really, they've never really made any money from me. I've never had an overdraft, never needed one. And if I've ever needed to borrow money for whatever reason, I've never done it through the bank. I've always done it through different means, safer and cheaper means than getting a loan from a bank. The only time I've ever got a big loan from a bank was to buy a house, and that was classed as a mortgage. And also a small home improvement loan to replace windows and build a conservatory. And that's on the house where mum and dad live. And that's it. I've never had I've never had a loan for a car. I've never had a loan for anything like that. So they've never really earned any money from me. So I thought, well, okay, I've been running my business from my bank account for the past 8 years. So perhaps it is time to change and actually get a separate bespoke bank account just for business transactions. And I thought, well, seeing as I've been their customer for many years, almost 30 years I've been with the bank, perhaps I'll look to see what they can offer. And guess what? They can't offer anything like the bank account that I've got already. So the bank account that they suggest is a self-employed or sole trader bank account. It's online only. It's called Metal, METTLE. Accessible only through devices, through an app or a laptop or an iPad or whatever, or a tablet. And looking at it, there's zero transaction fees and that kind of thing. Apart from, and here's the big kick in the rubber parts, I can't accept international payments. And as 80% of my customers are based in the US, Europe, Australia, kind of defeats the object, don't you think? So guess what? I'm sticking with the bank account I've got. Hey. savage beastie. I can't throw him unless you let go. Big dafty. So it's Saturday morning. I've got a lot to squeeze in this morning. I've got a few errands to run out and about. I've got to down to the post office and the bank, do a little bit of shopping. I've got to get home for 12 o'clock to release July's mission inspiration at lunchtime, and then get cracking on doing my project for the evening. Oh god, the queues at the post office are massive this morning. Might try it again on the way back. I'm not standing in that queue. Anyway, so that's going to be my busy day today. So lunchtime it's going to be mission inspiration, and then I've got to sit and actually do the project for tonight, get all that edited, filmed, edited, rendered, and then uploaded. So yes, I'm going to have a fairly kind of busy-ish Saturday today once I've done the errands. So it's Sunday morning, just gone about 10:30, and I've just sat and recorded a quick video, one of my Smash the Stash. Let's just get more light in the room. There we go. Another one of the Smash the Stash kind of videos. This time in the journal that I created, I've created a load of different types of pockets using all bits of paper, and also using up some of my ephemera stash, my Tim Holtz ephemera stash, paper dolls, and some stickers and other bits and pieces as well. So literally just using a load of stuff that I've already got to create some pockets, some different types of pockets. I think we've done diagonal pockets, we've done vertical pockets, we've done horizontal pockets, but we've also done square pockets as well. So, and literally all I've done is just used a bit of glue, my paper trimmer, circle punch, and loads of bits of ephemera. So I've had a fun morning so far. So I've recently had to find my birth certificate I had to prove my identity for something or other. Not going into too much detail, you don't really need to know. So I've had to go and dig it out from my, what I call my safe space, or my safe place, I should say. So all those kind of documents that you have, that you accumulate over the years, such as all my educational certificates and all my certificates for my degree that I did, and all those specialist subject qualifications that I did years ago for teaching, that kind of thing. Those with like birth certificates and milestone events in your life kind of thing. You tend to keep them all safe in one place. Now, normally my birth certificate and that kind of, and like educational certificates and that kind of stuff, they'd be with mum and dad over at the house in Penistone, because that's where they've always been. When we moved here in Barnsley, I brought them all over, and I've got this this safe place where I keep all of my bits and pieces that I want to keep and want to keep safe. Now, my original birth certificate was lost in a fire when I was, I don't know, 18, 19, 20 years old or whatever it was. One of my first flats that I had, places I lived on my own, well, actually shared with somebody. There was a fire. My flatmate, if you like, had hung some wet clothing too close to an electric fire and then went out. Yeah, the old story. Needless to say, I lost everything apart from the clothes that I was standing up in, and I had all my educational certificates of some of my educational certificates and my birth certificate and all that kind of stuff. That was there. I've since had to get copies, official government copies of everything, which are now safe here. So I brought them all here. But I'm digressing on the story. So I had to go and get my birth certificate, which is a copy of my birth certificate. And when I went into my safe place to get them, I realised that it was full of all kinds of other bits of paperwork, which was so out of date and old that they're just literally just taking up space. So I kind of started to go through that paperwork, and there were old pay slips dating from 1992 and all sorts of other stuff, statements from my pension company and all things like that, which really old insurance documents for cars that I haven't had for 10-15 years, all in this folder, this safe place. So I've set my task this afternoon to spread everything out on the table downstairs in the kitchen and to get rid of anything which is out of date, no longer needed. So I'm probably going to only be left with maybe like half a dozen pieces of paper. That's what I'm expecting anyway. So it's Christmas. Well, before you recoil in horror, let me just explain. We had a delivery of my new Christmas stamps that I've designed for Indigo Blue, which they released yesterday via Facebook and YouTube live broadcast. So there we have, it's like stitched chunky lettering, Let It Snow, and then we've got Jingle All the Way, Deck of the Halls and Not Your Relatives, Ho Ho Ho, and Christmas dictionary stamp. So they've recently released another dictionary stamp, which is just an everyday one, which has the word journey and journal and that kind of stuff on it. And I thought I would do one taken from a really old dictionary with the words Christmas. There will be one for Halloween as well, eventually. So these have arrived. Like I said, they released them on Monday. And on Saturday, this coming Saturday, the 8th of July, they're holding another one of their open days at their facility, warehouse, office, workshop, whatever you want to call it, down in Retford, which is North Nottinghamshire. Open day. I think there are tickets still available if you wanted to pop along and say hello. So, but it's not just me that's going down there and spending the day. I'm going to be playing and doing some stamping and some watercolouring and playing with embossing powders and bits of sparkle and that kind of stuff. But Ian's also going to be going down there as well. So Ian will be also going down and demonstrating making journals and doing 3D journal covers with the Woodology MDFs and some of the resin pieces. And Ian's going to be playing with metallic paints and that kind of stuff, and the gilding gum and the luscious powders and all that kind of stuff all day. Whereas, like I said, I'm going to be stamping. So I'm looking forward to that. But before I can go and do demos, I need to have a bit of a practice and play session. So that's what I'm going to be doing now. I'm going to do a couple of test stamps, stamping bits. I'm going to use some white embossing powder on black card and that kind of stuff. Just see what kind of effects I can get using different kind of materials and resources. Just so that I've got some ideas as to what I can do on the day. So I'm going to have a play session now. So see you in a bit. So it's now about 3 o'clock. So I've made 4 kind of samples. I've tried to keep them, you know, fairly kind of simple-ish. Watercoloured one with gold embossing powder, I've done another one with just some splatters and gold ink, because who said you have to throw everything but everything plus the kitchen sink at cards? And that's a bit bright, but that's one of the ones that Ian designed, because Ian's got a release as well. So I've done those 4. I'll do another 4 tomorrow, and then another 4 possibly on Friday. So I've at least 12 different samples to take with me. The Indigo Blue design team will also have all their samples as well. So I'll be able to have those to show and maybe demonstrate a few of the techniques that they've used as well. But it all depends on time and how long it takes, because a lot of them have actually cut out the letters individually to stick on, and even make up some different words as well. But I'm obviously not going to do that because I won't have time on the day, but I can maybe prep a few with all the letters cut out before, so I might do those tomorrow. So that's it for me, I think, today. Like I said, it's now about 3 o'clock, so it's time to take the boys out for a run, and then think about what I'm going to cook for our meal later on. So it's Wednesday morning. I'm just getting ready to go out to pop over to Mum and Dad's, take Mum shopping, do a bit of grocery shopping for them. And then when I get back this afternoon, I've got some more of the samples and prepping to do for the weekend. Ian's out with the dogs at the moment. He's taking both of them out. You've not seen anything of him this week. He is still here, trust me. Looking back on the footage for the last week's vlog, there's not one single piece of footage of Ian at all. But rest assured, he's still around. I think he's just become a bit camera shy this week. It's just that he's been out most of the time when I've just picked the phone up to record anything. And he's been very, very busy because he's also been doing a lot of daytime job stuff as well as working for Indigo Blue, but also getting ready for his next steampunk show, which is, when is it? Friday the 14th to the Sunday the 16th of July. So he's going to be at Sudeley Castle doing the Fantasy Forest festival. So there's a steampunk area. There's I think a post-apocalyptic kind of area. There's a medieval fantasy kind of role-playing, LARPing, fairies and monsters kind of section, as well as a few other different types of areas as well, plus music and all the rest of it. So he's getting ready for that. It's the first time he's done that one this year, and it's a fairly big one as well. So yeah, he's got a lot to think about. I'd like to say a huge thank you to all of my angels, because without you, these videos would not be possible. And don't forget, you can access your exclusive angel-only content over on my website. There's a link in the description area below. Thank you.